the beginning. It gets a little funky for me. What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the TNA post show. We thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday evening. We got some juice to talk about tonight. We had a proven ground match where ground was proven. We had a title defense that had a neat and tidy vibe to it. Not everything was like, oh my gosh, blow you out of the water stuff, but certainly less complaints than last week. I feel like we had some good stuff going on tonight. But guys, get in your super chats. Please leave a thumbs up on this video. I'm not going to hammer you too hard because this show, more than any other one, people filter in, and then I remind you all later to do the same thing. So I'm just going to give you the quick bits. But I will say lots of stuff on FightfulSelect.com, especially ahead of Royal Rumble. We've got so much content coming up for you this weekend. We have your Go Home SmackDown post show, which will be me and Alex Cardoza. You're going to have Grapsity. You're going to have Phil and Iridian on the Royal Rumble main channel post show, which should be a really fun combination. I like it when those two chop it up. I know you've sat in with both of them, I think, as a third before. So some fun stuff going on there. They have really fun chemistry. And Phil, man, his analysis of some key players right now in WWE is some of my favorite. Like, honestly, like hearing him talk about Seth Rollins and CM Punk, I always feel like he has some insight that maybe I didn't consider before or whatever. So I think especially for that one, he's going to be a fun one to sit in, watch, sit back, think about things maybe a little differently as he's prone to help you do. But Alex Plasky and I will be doing our weird ass stuff that we're always doing behind the paywall. So join us back there. Royal Rumble's always so fun. Even when it's not good, it's great. You know what I mean? That's a fun one. It's like the best of the PLEs. Sean's obviously in Indianapolis now, along with a bunch of other people. I feel like that bit from Friends where Rachel's like, I'm so happy for them and not at all jealous. That's where I am. I used to go to the NFL Combine for work too, so I'm missing Indianapolis this time of year quite a bit. So I hope everybody has a good time, but you know Sean's going to be there getting scoops, getting interviews. He's going to try and pop onto that post show as well if he can do so. But it's a chaotic one in Indianapolis for sure. So, but we're here to talk ROH. There's a huge thread on Fightful Select for you though. It does have spoilers. We're not highlighting what online, but basically it's a rundown of who's in town, who's healthy, who's signed, who's possible. So you can go over there and get a sneak peek at who might just be showing up in Rumble. But we've got some ROH to talk about tonight, and joined as always, I am by SB3. SB3, how we doing tonight?
I am doing splendid. I am here on a Thursday with Kate. It's the usual time where we are the honor riders, or the R in ROH stands for riders, and we are riding for a Ring of Honor. This is what we're here for. And it wasn't Rampage of Honor. I was saying to you before we went live, it wasn't Rampage of Honor. This was more of a Ring of Honor show. It was mostly about what's going on in Ring of Honor, except for a couple of key players who were missing.
Yeah, I agree. This was much more focused on this product this week instead of setting stuff up for Collision, which was really encouraging to see. And some payoff for things, right? Leila Gray had this match with Red Velvet that we're going to get into. Proving ground match where Lee Johnson actually got to prove his ground. So that was refreshing to see. That's not always the case on these. They're getting better at utilizing the proving ground stipulation overall, I would say. So that is refreshing to see, but we're going to dig into all of it. C. Delgado kicking us off with a super chat here saying, been sitting on that proving ground match for 2 weeks. Such a fun match that had me cheering for the logical ending with EJ. Yes, we're going to get into that one. That I think was a standout. I had a couple of people say, you're going to like what you're getting from the proving ground match. So I was looking forward to it going into it, but you and I have talked consistently about how much Lee Johnson's improved, how kind of frustrating it is that it feels like there's not a men's singles division, and how he had kind of worn out his paths, right? We saw him against Kyle Fletcher for the TV title. He lost there. He lost for the world title, new TV champion. Him proving his ground is something that's good here, I think. But let's actually start with that, since that's kind of where the conversation opened up with. We do have this match between Komander, who of course has Abrahantes out there with him, versus Lee Johnson. we had a time limit draw, which I also liked. This was not a pinfall. This was like him just surviving the match against a very athletic and crazy fast-paced high flyer. So kind of fun that, like, if I can just survive the 10 minutes with this little maniac, I've got myself a title shot. But Lee Johnson getting the not a win here, but surviving enough, which feels like a win in this case. And EJ, of course, out there as well. What did you think of? I don't want to say the most meaningful thing on this match. I think we on this card, I think we all knew that Leila Grey was going to lose to Red Velvet. So when I say like most meaningful, this was kind of the most delightful surprise on the episode, in my opinion, or the thing with some seeds of doubt that kind of kept this episode going. I loved what we got out of this. What did you think?
It was one of the better matches that we've seen on ROH TV in a while. I would say it's probably the best match we've seen on ROH TV since probably like Athena versus Abaddon, that crazy no DQ match that they had. It's been a couple of weeks since we had a really good match, and this was it. Where Komander, who's really come into his own, he's really improved. He's not doing 100 and run rope walks. He kind of saves it for the big dive spot when he does that, or when he does his finisher. So it was nice that they kind of based it around that. They based the work of Lee on basically working over his rib cage, so it affected him at the end when he was trying to go for his finisher, and it made sense with everything that worked out in the end and how it paid off with him surviving the 10 minutes. So I like the way they worked with one another. It was a good like kind of sample of what a TV title match might be between them, and I think that I'm going to be looking forward to when we actually get that TV title match, whether that's on Ring of Honor TV or maybe potentially at Supercard of Honor. I will say, because we don't usually stop and talk about, the throwback match of us, that we usually got. We got Samoa Joe versus Tony Deppen this week. And I don't know what I was doing, but I was not looking at the screen. And they announced, like, they say something like, oh, Supercard of Honor, Friday, March 31st. I was like, why would they put Supercard of Honor on Friday, March 31st? Like, that's kind of a strange. I was like, that's not WrestleMania weekend. That's not even Dynasty weekend. I was like, I thought it would make more sense. And then I was like, oh, this is 2023.
This was the throwback match, though that did catch me, especially because this was from 2023. This was not a throwback match to 15, 20 years ago like we've been getting. This was like less than a year ago. So I'm with you. I love Tony Deppen's work. I would like to see him kicking back around, but I agree with everything you said about the TV championship match too. Really nice combination of things here. And we've talked kind of time over time about how much Lee Johnson has improved, right? Like really, really explosive, but really, really clean work in the ring. His psychology also improves. And I think that's so important in matches with Komander because he's so flashy and he kind of can still. Ever since that Kyle Fletcher match, I feel like this really has been quite a run for Komander. His last Collision appearance was like with Okada, felt like a little iffy. Their chemistry just did not seem to be there. But I was talking about it with Alex Pulowski. I had said it's because he's doing like Simone Biles shit. And like, if you're doing stuff that high risk against Okada, you're not going to get 100% hits. You're going to get some misses. You're throwing a knuckleball out there. This is not fastballs down the middle. This guy's doing some of the most impressive, crazy things. And so sometimes it's not going to be the most logical thing, or sometimes the execution of those is going to be a little bit off. But I actually liked this match a lot better because I felt like him and Lee Johnson were just on the same page the whole time. The ribcage story was excellent. And it was the right pacing for Komander to be kind of more grounded. I felt like everything kind of worked in this match. And I love EJ and Duca too, being out there. Like, they still have this alliance. I thought it was going to be a full-blown tag team, but seems more like they're just in each other's corners. And I'm fine with that. I'm sure eventually we'll probably get to some sort of tag program, but I really like them as a duo working together. I think they together create such an interesting picture because they offer such different things. So very into that as we move along. I feel like Dreepy saying this was a very solid episode, but I think we need to know the question that everybody's wondering out here, SB3. Have you declared for the Royal Rumble, and do you think you will win it? We've had like an overabundance of declarations, I would say. There is like half the Royal Rumble matches declared. And what people want to know, because here's the other thing with everybody that's declared SP3, they all think they're going to win.
Yeah.
According to their promos. Like CM Punk, pretty confident he's going to win. Sami Zayn also thinks he's going to win. Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, they think they're going to win. So can you confirm on air right now if you are declared for the Royal Rumble, and do you think you're going to win? Your thoughts?
Well, there are about 15 spots left in this year's Royal Rumble. I don't know who I have to clarify this with, whether it's Nick Aldis, Adam Pearce, Triple H, Ava, Shawn Michaels, Nick Khan, Mark Shapiro, TKO, Board of Directors, Stephanie McMahon, Undertaker, and Shawn Michaels, so they can surprise me and tell me that I've declared for the Royal Rumble. But I'm going to tell them right now, kind of like how Triple H told them before they surprised them, I am declaring for the Royal Rumble.
Huge
And yes, I will be winning. And I will go to WrestleMania to face Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
He has a YouTube channel just like me.
Well, there you go for YouTube supremacy. You heard it here first. Money well spent.
The YouTube Championship. First ever. Well, I'm giving you all the breaking news. Not only am I declaring for the Royal Rumble, not only am I winning the Royal Rumble, not only am I going to cash in and face Logan Paul for the World YouTube Championship, I am announcing that there is a World YouTube Championship that will be debuting in Las Vegas.
This is like the most productive $5 ever spent on a super chat. We just got so much information. I feel like the subs that we gain off of this, we should be giving you a cut for. But SP3 declaring for the Royal Rumble, calling his shot against Logan Paul, and the creation of the YouTube Championship. I'd rather watch you than his idiot brother, so I'll take it if you're going to be the one fighting Logan Paul. But some good information. I'm not declaring for this year, but 2030 I think is my year. I'm declaring. I'm playing chess, not checkers. I'm declaring now for 2030. So that I am prepared for the whole field. I've got all these years to train for that specific match. So I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling good about my 2030 declaration, but it's declaring season, baby, man. There are people, we are off and running with declaring. And you mentioned who do you have to clear it with? Seems like you just have to declare. Or like you can send in a vignette like Penta did, and that's good enough. So
you know what? So because everybody be fighting in the Royal Rumble to get a spot at WrestleMania, and then a lot of the people that fight in the Royal Rumble that don't win still get a spot at WrestleMania. So I have some more breaking news. I am undeclaring for the Royal Rumble, and I'm just declaring I'm facing Logan Paul for the World YouTube Championship at WrestleMania. And then I am bringing more news and saying I am declaring for the 2028 Royal Rumble because I will be 40, and that's where I will likely get a push from WWE. So I am declaring for the 2028 Royal Rumble.
This has been a roller coaster, honestly. Like, you've declared, you said you were going to win, you said you were going to face Logan Paul, you said you're inventing the YouTube Championship, then you undeclared, but you're just declaring for WrestleMania, which is chess, not checkers, and you're declaring for 2028, was it?
Well, Kate, it's all about the GPS, and, we just go through and, the twists and the turns, and we just follow the GPS, and, it has different paths, and then you get a fork in the road, and this is what we do, and then we find a different way to get to 2028 when he's 40 years old, when he's more likely to, produce more for us, the likes of LA Knight and Damian Priest are doing very well past the age of 40, and 40 is the new 30. He's still young still, Jay-Z made that lyric one time, and then I follow the GPS, and this is what I do. And then I was very surprised when I gave myself, my wife and best friend and biggest rival gave me the Hall of Fame, and Nick Khan, I'm gonna kill you for listening to me. For telling me I'm in the Hall of Fame.
You hate to do it. You hate to have this attention on you.
I hate it.
SP3, before we let you go, what inning are you in your story, would you say?
We are still in the 6th inning.
Okay.
It's the top of the 6th, which means that you can get ready if you're in Yankee Stadium to do the YMCA during the break between the top and the bottom of the 6th.
Relievers are warming up. We're full on in the set. Well, I applaud you. I applaud you for how quickly your story is moving along comparatively. But in case you missed it, there's now 2,300 people watching. And let me tell you, if you're just coming in now, which a lot of you are, SP3 just declared for the Royal Rumble. He thinks he's going to win. He's going to face Logan Paul for the YouTube Championship, which doesn't exist yet, but will now. But then he undeclared.
The world YouTube
Championship. Undeclared for Rumble, declared just for WrestleMania in general, and declared for the 2028 Royal Rumble. So we've got you covered on all the important stuff. But me, Norma, saying, I'm declaring for a brunch buffet this Sunday. $20, all you can eat. These people don't know who they're effing with. I'll win and go on to take a nap. Now, this is my speed. I don't want to get thrown over a top rope. I'm a white girl. I want to go to brunch. And I want it to be endless. And then I want to take a nap after.
I want bottomless mimosa.
You give me my bottomless mimosas. Be Normus, I swear on your mother's eyes. I will see you at brunch, and I will clean your clock, and I will take the hardest nap of all time. Should we get back to ROH? Should we talk about the show that we're here to review? Well,
perfect promo.
Thank you so much. Put some respect on my name, okay? I just became a heel in NXT. Let's keep moving along. Guys, thank you for the super chats. Keep them coming. Let us know if you're declaring for Royal Rumble. We have so many questions for you, but let's dig in to our women's TV title match, which was really great to see on here. We had Miss Red Velvet and Leila Grey. I love her using the left hook. I'm so impressed by how much she puts into it. 'Cause she's a tinier girl. She's not the biggest girl. So her using that left hook as a finisher is so much fun to me. Leila Grey did have a size advantage on her. Not an insane one, but a decent amount of one. Considering how early Leila Grey's been in this and that this is Red Velvet's first real championship run, and she went from being a baddie to being injured to getting her feet under her in a literal sense and a figurative one, and then becoming a champion. I really liked this match. I thought this was really, really good. I liked what we saw. I think Leila Grey is coming along, and Red Velvet I feel like we've seen her start to put all the pieces together. And when you see those moments of them all coming together, it's really rewarding when the storytelling's there, when the move execution's there, when the pacing's there. Because there's been times where she's had a really strong grasp on one aspect or another, but not it as a cohesive thing to do, which is insanely hard in pro wrestling. But we're getting more and more of that as her title reign goes on. I feel like her working as this understated but badass heel, and her look and her charisma, it's all working. I had a blast watching this, and not everything was the most perfect clean thing, but it was kind of one of those matches where I didn't feel like it had to. I feel like both of them brought it here at the main event of the show. What did you think of our women's TV title match?
This was a perfectly solid match between these two ladies. I thought that Leila Grey played mostly like a 1990s babyface. She was playing to the crowd, getting the crowd involved, making the taunts and, the good facial expressions, selling very well when Red Velvet was in control, and then made her little comeback at the end, looked like she was on the verge of victory, but just came up short because Red Velvet was just a little bit more resourceful and just a little bit better than her, and hit the straight to your mama's kitchen for the victory here. So I thought this was a good match. I thought they worked very well with each other. I would have liked for maybe more build to the main events. I think that's what AEW, Tony Khan promotions don't do all the time. And when they do it, I always give them credit for it. But I would like them to do it, because I've noticed that they haven't been doing it as of late, is that just push your main events, like a little
Sure.
video package, a little promo. Like these two women have history with one another as baddies. You know, maybe you don't want to mention Jade Cargill, but you can make the production in a way where you just see a picture of them or a video of them together
I
without
also think,
Jade
like,
in there.
it seems like she left on really good terms, so I think it's probably she's on the fair game list as far as people to mention. I agree with you. That's something that I think WWE has gotten much better on in the production side of things.
Yeah.
Like that's where now they've gone overkill with some production. Like not everything needs a freaking drone shot. It makes me nauseous. Like sometimes it feels like they're losing control of the drone. I'm not kidding. There's been 2 times where I'm like, that drone's gonna crash. Like it's been all wobbly and weird. I was like, it's gonna run into Sami Zayn. But there's been times where they just do one of those long shots for an extended entrance and they do a little video package or whatever. And that has helped. I feel like with ROH, it's even more tough because that's one drawback, I think, too. We film some matches on this show and some matches on that show and some before and some after. You don't really have the concept for what a cohesive episode is going to look like. You don't even know what's going to main event. We've seen that way too many times, right? Where we're like, how the hell is this the main event and not that match? So that would be nice. That would be nice from a product perspective to pick up. Also true on AEW. Like it would be nice if they just had a little more juice around them. I agree with that.
I would love to find out how they edit these shows. Like, do they get like a note, like a rundown of Tony Khan, how he wants the show to be structured, or is there like a team that puts it together with an editor or something like that? I would love to know that type of detail. I don't want to know too much inside baseball, but just like how is an episode of Ring of Honor, because you tape so much. This match was filmed on like January, what was it, 16th, like 2 weeks ago. So like how did you film? You filmed some stuff on the Maximum Collision Dynamite that was on Wednesday, January 15th, and then you filmed some for January 16th. I don't know which matches were which on this show, but it seemed like most of them were from that January 16th Maximum Collision. So, and then how do you put it together to make it the show that it was tonight and make it cohesive? And there was a lot of things that were missing from the show. Like I said at the top of the show, I think, no Athena on this week. Yeah, she doesn't probably have anything to update us on, but a pre-tape promo from her phone or something. I don't know. That would have been useful. A New York Minute. I mean, we got 2 minutes of the New York Minute. You could have cut that in half and give us one. Give us Ring of Honor needs 1 minute of the New York. I'm just saying, we got to have our Ring of Honor World Champion on the show, at least have some representation there. Like, damn.
I agree. I'm also intrigued to see if that changes with Rampage exiting the picture. Like, from what I've heard, they enjoy the fact that without Rampage now, they can just kind of get in and out of these buildings. It makes life a lot easier when you're going home at a more reasonable time. It just does. Like, I remember that on the WWE side when they would film 205 Live at the end, people were just like meaning the cameramen and like the production crews are just exhausted as well. So I'm wondering if, maybe some dark matches get taped on Dynamite now when they become a part of the ROH schedule. Like, what does that look like? Because that could also get us out of the Collision leftovers feel that we continue to talk about on the show. But like you said about this episode, felt like there was a lot more juice on this one that was ROH focused. Let's talk about this really fun Shane Taylor Promotions Infantry vignettes where they said they were on the Crash Out tour, promising to spread 2 to the head on everybody their way. They're giving out double stomps like Oprah SP3. I love this. ROH now stands for run or hide before telling anybody who gets in their way to rep the set or expect disrespect. This was so much fun. These guys have so much charisma, and I have always been in the camp of it's a good idea for them to be under the Shane Taylor Promotions umbrella, but like seeing stuff like we got today, I'm more positive of it than ever. Like it just feels like the perfect connection here. Wish you and I were on that New Japan watch along and we saw Trish Adora, it looked like, get knocked out or something. She did not get up from a move. So I don't want to be like, where's Trish Adora all the time if she's injured? But where's Trish Adora? If that's not the case, I hope she's okay. But I like that they just got to back this up with some wins. But everything that you want as an act is there. The charisma, the energy, the alignment. Shane Taylor with like this extra mob boss kick to everything that he's already been. The in-ring is there, obviously. Having the pure champion involved in this really badass group is like such an interesting tension to like so many pure championship runs, and I love them, are so like, it's for the purity of wrestling. And Lee Moriarty's like, it's the purest way to hurt you. Like that's kind of how this feels. And I really like how outstanding this group is. Let's just back it up with some wins. But as far as the vignette, I had a blast watching that. Carly Bravo especially just like pops so much on screen. Your thoughts on this?
I really like the Infantry. I think they're very charismatic. I think they can be a lot of fun on their promos, and they were a very fun babyface act that got over on these, Ring of Honor tapings, whether they were a part of Collision, whether they were in Universal, did not matter. They found a way to kind of stand out in their own way. They had their rivalries with like Undisputed Kingdom and all of that. But since turning heel, it feels like they've kind of come into their own and kind of found the missing piece of it all. And right here, I think this was their best promo. This was the promo that I'll probably remember. Rep your set or expect disrespect. Woo! I was like, oh, that's a bar right there. That's a t-shirt. Put it on a t-shirt right there. I was like, oh, that's great. That's some good stuff. It was like, you get tooted head. You get tooted head. It was like, you walking across the street with your grandma. You get tooted head. Sorry, grandma. Oh, my God. I was like, these guys are just jumping off the screen with their personality. That was so good. And the whole promo, the whole vignette started off with them bullying some freaking attendant backstage. So this was great. This was kind of the stuff that I was like enjoying with like the Hurt Syndicate when they were in the Continental Classic, when Shelton would lose a match and MVP would badger him, and then they start beating up random attendants and stuff like that. But this shows their personality and puts over the group in a way. So I like this. I like what the Infantry is offering as heels and a part of the Shane Taylor promotions. But like you said, it's all about them getting wins, them getting the push that they need. I like the fact that they're a part of this whole Daniel Garcia versus Undisputed Kingdom versus Shane Taylor Promotions rivalry on Collision. You're getting them more exposure, getting more eyes on them. But I think that they're probably the match that people rarely want to see would be Daniel Garcia versus Lee Moriarty. I mean, I like Kyle O'Reilly. I would love Kyle O'Reilly versus Daniel Garcia as well. But I'm just saying, Lee and Danny, if they really gave them a chance, they could really kind of break out against one another on AEW television. But over on ROH, just keep getting them wins. Put Shane in the main event scene. Let Lee dominate in the Pure Championship. And then let the Infantry finally get their shot at the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles and actually have an opportunity to win it. Because, I mean, the last couple of times they got in shot, it was like, we're not really giving you the shot here.
You know, you and I and a lot of people have been in the Chris Jericho needs to go away for a bit camp. And man, Shane Taylor knocking his block off sounds like a really fun way to send him away for a while. Honest to God, like Shane Taylor putting him out, and then you get the remnants of the learning tree against some people in Shane Taylor Promotions, like Big Bill and Brian Keith versus the Infantry. Sign me up for that. Like, there's something really, really fun there. But Shane Taylor, I mean, we talk about it every week, but like him calling out for 2 title shots and not getting them, like if he called out Chris Jericho. And like on the mic, Shane Taylor is so good. So for him to be able to cut through all of Jericho's bullshit, man, there's no beautiful housing in Harlem. Let's relax. Like him calling stuff out would be so much fun. And like from an in-ring perspective, Jericho's strengths right now are on being dodgy, right? On all these stipulation matches that help him kind of disguise where he's at realistically at this stage of his career. And Shane Taylor just having no patience for any of that shit would be so much fun. So just forever in the Shane Taylor beats the champion that's not really around, but kind of
We're
around.
gonna book Shane Taylor to be every Ring of Honor World Champion until he's Ring of Honor World Champion. Tony, don't threaten us. We will do this. We will do this. You're threatening us. The more he doesn't get a title shot, the more we're gonna book every champion to lose to Shane Taylor.
It's true, and more embarrassingly, like it'll just get worse as it goes on. But I was up for this promo, but SP3. Some people have trouble getting it up. You know what I mean? Some people need a little bit of help. Some people need a little friend. In BlueChew.com, you don't even need the code FIGHTFUL anymore, but Sean Ross Sapp's going to tell you more about it.
My friends, you know we always care about your performance at Fightful, and we want to keep that performance at a main event level. And you can with BlueChew and the code FIGHTFUL. The same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a much more affordable option. BlueChew is ready whenever you are or whenever you're not. Helps give you that extra motivation. That way you can make sure that your performance is at a championship level. You go online to BlueChew.com, and when approved by our online physicians, you get that confidence. You get that performance. And you get it shipped straight to your door. No awkward conversations with the doctor. No waiting in line at the pharmacy. All of that stuff. You use that code FIGHTFUL, get your first shipment free. That's how confident that they are that they're going to make you confident. What do you have to lose? BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
BlueChew.com. Don't even need the code FIGHTFUL anymore. Guys, leave a thumbs up on this video. Almost 3,000 of you watching now. We appreciate it. I told you at the beginning of the show I was going to lighten up on the laundry list because more of you tune in now. So guess what, suckers? This is when we're going to remind you to leave a thumbs up on this video. This is when we're going to remind you to subscribe to the Fightful YouTube channel. Over 124,000 of you already have. Incredible. You know that after Royal Rumble, you're going to want to see what content is here. You're going to want to see whatever interviews Sean was able to get. He's got the top stars there at the most exciting time of the year. You're going to want to see what they have to say, but subscribe today. You'll get notifications about all the little post shows going on like this, all the content that we have going on, which is so much. We had 2 interviews that went up this week. We got more on the way. Francine's interview was up this week. You got the hump with Sean and Jimmy Van. Grapsody this weekend, and honestly, like, shit's about to get wild right now. This is the time of year where our programming goes crazy because there's so many extra post shows on weekends for pay-per-views and PLEs. AEW maxed out how many events they've kind of got going on too with Dynasty and all these, almost one a month. You've got Grand Slam as a Collision. There's so much going on. So subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you're up to date on everything. And we'll also remind you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Plenty going on over there. If you're an AEW fan, the news about the Guns being on their way back went up on FightfulSelect.com as well. We got that quick, nice little vignette from them yesterday, but they sure seem like they're coming back as baby faces. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. So some good stuff on FightfulSelect.com. Best $6 in the business as of February 1st. Lock in for $54 a year now if you can. That's going to go up to $64 a year sooner than later too, also on February 1st. So these are the final days to get your deals in on FightfulSelect.com. But we are moving along in this episode of ROH. Get in those super chats if there's anything you want to talk about. If you're declaring for Royal Rumble, let us know. But let's talk about our opening match, actually. This was Sammy Guevara and Aaron Solo. He won with the go to hell. It was a match. I don't know what to tell you. Sammy's always great in the ring. Like I've never been like, wow, Sammy Guevara was unimpressive in this outing. That's never been a thing I've said. But he's half of a tag team. He's having a singles match with no stakes against someone who is not a consistent men's singles competitor on ROH. So there's just not a lot I can say from the story aspect. Aaron Solo is perfectly serviceable in the ring. Sammy Guevara is always impressive in the ring. We've said a few times on this show that he's a better babyface than he probably gets credit for. Like, I think he's pretty good on that side of things. But this was just kind of superfluous as far as anything for us to really analyze. There's just not a ton to say about it, but it was a fun enough opener. They both put out quite an effort considering this was not, there was no real meat on the bone, but they still put on an entertaining little match here.
Yeah, this was perfectly fine. This is just a match, like you said. Sammy, it seems like they are just kind of kicking things around in regards to the Sons of Texas right now, coming off the heels of Final Battle and their what we thought was one of their better kind of rivalries that they had last year for Ring of Honor with them and the Righteous, and then they had the matchup with the House of Torture in the Tokyo Dome. I want to forget it too. Don't worry, I won't remind you. And now they kind of are just waiting for their next challenger. They did bring up MXM Collection making their challenge last week. They did bring up the option that Aaron Solo could win this matchup and get an opportunity at the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships, which made me remember. I was like, oh yeah, Aaron Solo, you technically are kind of in a tag team with QT Marshall. Y'all have been in a tag team pretty much since the factory, for whatnot, for whether it was different names, QTV or whatever, you kind of been his ride or die through all of these different iterations.
Nightmare TV Q Factory,
yes,
and an amalgamation of things, certainly.
All these multiverse evolutions of QT Marshall, you've been along the ride the entire way, so that would make sense if you did get the win. And I think that then this match would have had a point if he did get the win. But when Sammy got the win, I was just like, okay.
All right.
And
it wasn't a proving ground match because you can't do that with half a tag team, so that was kind of odd.
But I was just like, is Sammy gonna go after singles gold now? I know that would be something that Kate would hate, but I'm just saying, like, what's the point of this if he's not gonna go after singles gold?
It's part of why I would hate it is we already have Justin as a double champ with a belt that he doesn't defend in the trios titles, right? Me Norma saying that ROH and AEW needs to merge and use the trios titles. Man, they can't make up their damn minds with that. Remember, they merged them and then we're like, actually, JK, 2 weeks later.
JK, no, so actually, we're going to strip you all of those titles and we're going to split them up. What? Huh?
Even though when somebody else was injured in the last faction, they were allowed to freebird. It was very weird.
Exactly. We've had freebird champions or replacement champions multiple times in this promotion. Why are y'all just making up new rules to make things more convoluted?
I just was saying the Serenity Prayer at that point. Like, the amount of times that they've changed how they go about what happens when someone is injured for a title drives me nuts. We got away from interim championships, which I actually kind of like. I didn't hate that because that's what they do in UFC. So whatever. Yeah. Depending on how long someone's out. I feel like it should have been, if someone's going to be out longer than 90 days, we do an interim title. Yes. If it's less than that, we don't. Or whatever. So things like that.
Or if it winds up that it's more than that, they become the official champion. Because that is how UFC does it.
There you go. So they just pick a route and stick with it. That's how I feel. In WWE, it's every 2 years we separate the titles, every 2 years we merge the titles, right? And I'm like, just freaking pick one so that I, as a fan, can buy into what you're telling me. They've been more consistent about it recently, but to your point about Sammy going for a singles title, it's kind of like, it's frustrating because it doesn't feel like we exactly have a robust men's singles division in ROH, but at the same time, like, focus on the belts that you have, man. Like, you guys have tag titles. They're more present than some champions. I give them a ton of credit for that. There's actually been feuds that have been built out with these tag titles. But, like, stop getting distracted by other titles. Leave those for other people. Where the hell is Willie Mack? Like, Blake Christian's out here getting more heat than anybody against Evil Uno, who's a heel or a face, depending on what week it is. And like, that guy should be in title contention, things like this. So, I feel like delineation of divisions, man, it's brutal. Yeah. It's brutal.
I feel like AEW and Ring of Honor, they need, or Tony Khan in general, just need someone that he hires to basically be like, okay, these are the top stars in this division. This is the top stars in this division. This is the top stars in this division. These are the people you should be booking out every week. Everybody else is the people that you should be putting against these people to put over, because these are the main people that are going to be like pushed in the forefront. These are going to be the next couple of champions for this division or something like that. He needs someone to kind of structure it out like that, because he's just all over the place. It seems like, especially over here.
Max should be on every show. He really should. Certainly can't give him shit about working GCW if you're never going to have him on your damn show. But like to your point, what I loved, we were the two people that were watching ROH before it shut down. And I loved how clean it was of, I want that belt, so I'm in this division. And then when I get enough wins to be the contender for that belt, I challenge for that belt. That was the whole 1 hour COVID era ROH delineation. It was clean and it was beautiful and it was easy, and everybody knew what division they were in, and everybody was fighting within those divisions. I'm not saying you have to be that strict on it, but that organization was impeccable. And as a fan of the product, especially when it was a 1 hour format, oh my God, it was like such a breeze. You throw Ian and Caprice on commentary, that 1 hour felt like 20 minutes, man. That shit would breeze by.
But even like someone like even like at New Japan Pro Wrestling right now, like, you know who the top guys are in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You know, it's your Zack Sabre Jr.'s, it's your Tetsuya Naito's, it's your Yoda Tsuji's, it's your David Finlay, it's your Gabe Kidd.
They're still there. If Gabe Kidd and Finlay are still there.
Yeah, if they're still there in the next month. But those are the guys that are like kind of in the forefront. Those are the guys that are gonna headline your shows. You got your top junior heavyweights, your El Desperados, your Hiromu Takahashis. You got those guys over there. Then you got kind of the legends like your Hiroshi Tanahashis and your Toru Yanos and your Tomohiro Ishii's. Like, you have all these, but it's all sectioned out. It's very clean cut where you know who the top half of the, like, AEW doesn't have that. Ring of Honor, I don't even know who's on this roster.
They don't know who's on this roster. That's the damn problem. But Matthew Hook say, we got Solo, but no GYV, no MXM, no The Righteous, no Josh Woods. Josh Woods, I'm putting his damn face on the back of a milk carton. The fact that guy is not, again, assuming he's not injured, I always get nervous about that because I never want to be harping. Like, even this, I was on this train for a while of, you brought Danhausen back, and where'd he go? He had a baby. There's a baby Hausen. So good for them, Hausen. Hopefully he's on paternity leave and they capitalize on him coming back. But
paternity leave a Hausen.
Yeah, paterna Hausen leave. Paterna leave Hausen. But he's just way too effing good to be wasting him. Like, Josh Woods is, if you said you thought he was a top 50 worker in the world, I would say, of course. If you said he was a top 25, I'd say, I could buy into that. If you said top 10, I would have a hard time arguing with you about that. Like, I don't know if I necessarily 100% agree, but I wouldn't be able to tell you no, because he's a freaking monster. The Technical Beast is like the most accurate nickname in the history of the world for that guy. So I agree with you. We did get the MXM mentions, so I'm thinking we're building toward a program for the tag titles with MXM. GYV not being around is weird. But yeah, the inconsistency of who's on their own roster has been a pill from the beginning. The beginning. Yeah. But guys, get in your super chats. We are zipping through. I honestly thought we were going to be done talking about this in like 10 minutes because it was a very quick episode tonight. And there was a lot of stuff that there's not necessarily a ton to dig into, but we chatted up, me and SP3 around. Do stick around for the TNA post show, though. You have Cora Jade coming over from NXT and this. Mustafa Ali back in TNA. So Mustafa Ali returning. Nic Nemeth speaking after losing the title for the first time as well. So you got Joe Hendry as the champion over there. That partnership continuing with TNA. Going to be interesting to see if we get any surprises for Royal Rumble from that side of things. Like, do we get Masha Slamovich in there? I think Jordan Grace is almost a definite, but like Masha showing up with that title would be so much fun. So we'll see how that goes, but let's talk about Queen Aminata and Alison Kay, because man, I love a good swinging headbutt. I do. I love a good swinging headbutt, SP3. It makes me nervous, but I like it. This was fun because Queen Aminata was picking on someone her own size a little bit. Like, Queen Aminata has such poise to her, and she does have a height advantage over. I was thinking about this earlier. There's a lot of just shorter gals in ROH, like Leila Hirsch, Red Velvet. Like there's some just tidier gals in general. But Alison Kay is like tall, athletically built, perfect opponent. I felt like for Queen Aminata, this was a fun match. I would like for them to choose what they're doing with Queen Aminata. Did they awaken a storyline with Serena Deeb from like 4 months ago in that 4-pack? I don't know. Do they know what roster she's on? I'm not sure. But I love the look that she has going on right now. She's obviously a megastar. When we talk about the champagne problem of how deep the AEW women's division is and how poor the talentation has been, I say been because the past week it's been excellent. We got 9 women on Collision alone. We saw the Vendetta finally show up on AEW, like SP3 and I have been shouting from the rooftops about for a while. But Queen Aminata is one of those ones that you're like, she's in that next up group of like soon to be megastar. So I don't want her to get lost in the shuffle. I want them to be extremely intentional with the reps that she gets because she's excellent. And this was super fun. I just want them to pick a lane with her. This was very fun. Please keep the Hex around. I love both Marty Bell and Alison Kay, even though Marty Bell's match last week was just the chemistry was a little off in that one. I don't care. Marty Bell's amazing. I like seeing them around. So I'm forever give us a women's tag division. I think it would help straighten out a lot of things. But this was perfectly fun tonight, and they went at it. They fought hard. What did you think?
Yeah, this was it was perfectly fine as well. This matchup here, I thought it was too short. I would have liked to see more from them because they were very hard hitting towards the end of the matchup.
Short, wasn't it? Yeah,
I would have liked to see a little bit more. But Queen Aminata getting the win with the flash headbutt always pops me because she just gets it out of nowhere and it's just like headbutt. That'll probably be my finisher because I would have a big head. So that's what I'm going to do to Logan Paul at WrestleMania 41 for the World YouTube Championship. I'm going to take a cue from Queen Aminata and use the headbutt for the victory. But yeah, I agree with you as far as Queen Aminata being in that next up position because I feel like this is like the issue that I said with like alignment with AEW. It's also a bigger issue with the women's division because the whole alignment of everything in the women's division is totally out of whack because you had Mercedes Moné, who's the top star of the division. She's holding the secondary title, so she gets more attention than the main women's champion, who's Mariah May, who feels like she's on the last weeks of her run before Timeless Toni Storm gets the title. We're at the point that they kind of have to do a title versus title match at some point, especially after Toni gets back the title. They're just going to have to do a title versus title matchup, and there needs to be one definite top star of that women's division, and then hopefully they can shape everything else at, because we should see Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander every week on AEW television, and we don't. Athena should be on AEW television, but she's been in Ring of Honor for God knows how long now.
Witness protection. Yeah, she's not allowed out.
Witness protection program. Billy Starks is probably at the point that I don't think that she's the one to beat Athena. She needs to be on AEW television because she could be like a young star in the women's division that you can groom, that could take a couple of losses for now before you build her up to become the big star to break out of the women's division because she's so young in the game. So like you're at this point where it's all out of whack. You're gonna have to probably combine both titles and make it one division and then kind of shape out your division that way. But that's it. It's basically a trickle-down effect with Ring of Honor with the issues with every alignment in AEW.
I agree. I do feel like giving Mariah May live mic time that she requested was a good idea because she has shown that she can deliver that live promo extremely well. I would love for... I've like always been a Ruby Soho gal and a Ruby Riott gal. I would love if and when she's ready to come back from being out, if she beat Toni Storm, because they had the Outcast connection. She was one of the few people that was working really consistently there in that women's division before it had the depth that it did. She always answers the call. She's never hear about backstage issues with her. That moment with the Owen was like, that made Chris Statlander... She kind of got the raw end of that deal. They didn't give it to her the second year. Like, I would love for them to capitalize on her coming back. And it doesn't have to be a super long title reign. I think it would actually be really refreshing if you went from transitional Toni Storm reign, because she doesn't need a mega long reign as face with this character, to a transitional Ruby Soho reign, because then you could have multiple champions in like a shorter period of time. I appreciate long title reigns, but man, it's been dominated by the same women in Shida, in Toni Storm for the past couple years, like pretty consistently. It's the TBS title that's had the energy around it, but now you want Mercedes to be on this belt collector mission. You paid her a lot of money to be on it, so make that happen in the top picture. Is the way that I go with that. But
I just don't think. I think Ruby Soho, we're just falling into the same trap, because if they're not going to book Mariah May well, I don't have any faith they're going to book Ruby Soho as a women's champion well. And especially if Mercedes is still the TBS champion, it's the same problem. You have the top star with the secondary title. They're not going to pay as much attention. I want them to, but they're not. I think that probably the way to fix this is by doing the timeless Toni Storm, Mercedes Moné matchup, because that's the biggest one that you got, and make it that Mercedes has one last title that she has to collect, and it's the AEW Women's World title.
I don't know. I think that ROH title could be interesting. I'd rather it be Athena against Mercedes.
I wouldn't mind that either. I wouldn't mind that either.
You're still... I think the women don't need less to fight for. I'll put it that way. I understand your concerns. I think the problem with Mariah May is we knew the inevitable outcome of the story, and that has hampered everything else in between because of the inevitability of it, right? So it's a lot. It's a lot. But let's wrap up this episode of ROH, guys. We got the TNA Impact post show on the back end of this. Please leave a thumbs up on this video. We appreciate, we've been getting a crazy amount of support of late on Fightful YouTube, and we appreciate it so much. I now, because Sean is ridiculous, I thought it was a good idea. It gave me access to our Fightful Twitter account. So I'm helping out very peripherally just in promoting post shows, and you guys have been really responsive as I've done that. I'm going to see if I can talk him into letting me live tweet ROH a little bit, because I think it'll be good. I put some test tweets out there and there were some good responses. So we're going to hopefully keep that going. So keep an eye on YouTube X, and we finally got our Instagram back that had been hacked. So good news, good changes coming. But let's talk about match of the year candidate, Serpentico versus Brandon Cutler. Do we have enough time to even talk about this for the?
I don't know if we have enough. I don't know.
Look, they've actually faced each other before in the early days. I'm not going to undersell it. Brandon Cutler and Serpentico have had some matches before.
The Cucamonga strong style match. You know,
right.
We were very specifically told that it was a notable match from the critically acclaimed weekly show that was known as AEW Dark. I don't know if a lot of you, like young kids, remember the AEW Dark.
AEW Dark.
You used to be on the YouTube's kind of what you're watching this show on. It was kind of on there, and it used to feature a lot of matches in Daly's place, and that was Brandon Cutler versus Serpentico was one of those matches, and it was so unforgettable.
Just like this one. No, this was just another thing that has no stakes on it. Like that's the thing. Serpentico's a great worker. Brandon Cutler plays his role very well. Why did it happen?
I don't know why Serpentico's winning matches now. What is going on?
They have never picked an ally with that. Like, for a while, his gimmick was losing. And then he paired up with Angelico, and he started to get some wins, both as a tag team and a singles competitor. I don't think him beating Brandon Cutler is like, oh, we're giving this guy a push. But this match happened. Blake Christian defeats Evil Uno with the curb stomp. We've talked about this week over week, but bears repeating that, like, Blake Christian's ability to adapt what is a very fun and likable moveset to a heel character continues to be really impressive. Evil Uno, do something. Pick a side. Is he a heel or a face? Is a Dark Order a tag team or a trio or a collection of singles competitors? Are they baby faces? Are they heels? freaking choose. The Dark Order was so integral to the very fabric of AEW. They were a part of the most important story told in the first few years of that company, and they have just been aimlessly thrown onto ROH. I am all for them being ROH Trios champions if the damn Trios belts were around and if they had a story to get them there. Pick something. They are fun. Let us have fun. I was having this discussion with Jeremy Lambert. I said, Jeremy, as a wrestling on-screen murder enthusiast, because he loves a good murder, loves a good on-screen murder. I said, what is the ratio of murders to sillies? And he said it has to be a 1-to-1 ratio. Otherwise, your show is out of balance. And I agreed with that. One complaint that I had, again, most of this precedes, I mean, Dynamite was not great yesterday, but the week before that was very productive.
Yeah.
The lack of sillies on the show is detrimental. It just is.
Yes.
There, and not even just silliness like your MXMs and your Outrunners, but like designed to be fun. Meaning like Big Bill and Will Hobbs was designed to be fun.
Yes.
Like Big Meaty
Omega and Ospreay being enemies and then jumping off of something to become friends. Fun.
Designed to be fun. The Dark Order doesn't necessarily have to be goofy and silly to be designed to be fun, but you should lean into the fact that they are likable characters. Like, they are easy to get behind, and when they're heels, they can go in the ring. Like, Evil Uno can go. John Silver is crisp and sharp as hell in that ring. Like, people don't give him enough credit about how hard-hitting his offense pops with, I feel like. So, like, pick a lane, and I feel like we're the best wrestler doesn't mean you have to be void of being really fun. Like, so let's balance out some of our shows with some fun people. And I think Evil Uno is very fun when they let him be. And I appreciate his Twitter account. But this match was great. Like, I like Blake Christian. I like his agility mixed in with Evil Uno, who's just there to stop you from your forward movement. Like, that guy is going to hurt you. So this was fun, and I like that they're using Blake Christian with some consistency because he really is excellent in the ring, and this is the strongest I feel like I've seen him character wise in a while. So I really, really love this. Matthew Hook's calling it out perfectly. This is part of the reason Harley Cameron sticks out so much is she's excellent and so damn funny, but like there's not a lot of other relief on the show. And again, not always haha Mo, Curly, and Larry relief, but like designed for me to be like, oh hell yeah, let's do this, let's have some fun. But Blake Christian versus Evil Uno, perfectly fine match. I would like to see Blake Christian getting ready to challenge for a title sooner than later.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that if they get to that, or at least start setting it up. At least give him some promo time now. You've given him a couple of victories. Let's hear from him on the mic. Let's get the people. We haven't had a lot of like backstage interviews in a while on Ring of Honor TV either. So I would like to see some promo time, some interview time for Blake Christian. But yeah, this was another solid matchup on this show. Blake Christian getting the victory. It makes sense. Another victory for him as he's probably gearing up to get an opportunity at Komander, probably around Supercard of Honor time, because I think that is how it's kind of setting up, that he's busy with Lee Johnson right now as Komander. Once he's done with that, probably that's when Blake Christian will be back into play and be a challenger for him for the Ring of Honor World TV Championship. But yeah, you're 100% right. Like AEW Dynamite last night, man, just don't book a show with 3 heel beatdowns on the same show. Like, the only one that I was fine with was the Don Callis family, because I was like, yeah, they needed to get heat after Omega and Ospreay washed them 4-2 last week. They needed the heat. But by the time you end the show, it's like 1 of 3 heel beatdowns. So it's just like...
They took out Kenny before that, too, though. They took out Kenny backstage.
I was like, this would have been much
beatdown.
This would have been much more effective if they would have just all beat down and washed Ospreay, and then Omega, after getting beaten down, comes out and makes a save with the steel chair, and they just all leave. Omega doesn't need to take the beat down. At least Omega's safe. You purposely did not show the beat down backstage, so why have him beaten down backstage without us seeing, and to have him beat down in the ring? Didn't make much
Honestly, sense. I would be embarrassed if my job was to take someone out and I did such a bad job that they were able to run down to the ring with a steel chair. I would be embarrassed.
And he doesn't have any intestines.
2 feet of his spleen just out the window here. What are we doing? But I'm with you. Yeah, it was like a tale of 2 dynamites last week again. And the week before was so great that it kind of bummed me out. Part of why I feel like this one wasn't as good was I think they just are still cleaning up some of the stuff that for the past couple months that has not been good. And it's kind of hard to engineer your way out of it. They know they have to reset the Death Riders. That vignette was the most compelling thing they've done in a long time. But then they still had this weird booking that they kind of half had to follow through on, but was bad. So it's hopefully they've made a lot of really good pivots, I felt like, in the past week, but they still have to like clear out some of the nonsense they're doing. So hopefully like the Mid-South Brawl with FTR and Adam Copeland, hopefully that's just the end of that and we can move on or whatever. So
it's not. I feel it's not.
You think it's going to be Copeland and Moxette in New Zealand? I think that's possible.
A Revolution.
A Revolution? Oh.
I think Grand Slam they do Switchblade and Rated FTR.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They do that. To get Switchblade and win.
Because
I hope they don't do what a lot of people have been saying they're going to do is Moxley versus Switchblade in Australia, because that would be a waste of time and just a needless loss for Switchblade. Don't do that.
Yeah, you can only book that for him to lose, so it's not going to be great. But I'll tell you what, I loved what we got out of the Swerve Hangman.
Hangman, that 2 minutes of Hangman looking for Swerve and bumping into MJF was the most compelling thing on the show. And it was only 2 minutes.
So good. It was so good. Plus, MJF referencing like my favorite thing ever of that Kevin Owens interview popped me huge.
He popped me before that when he was talking to himself and said, "Sorry, it's the ADD." Oh my god,
so accurate. I have ADD, and that is exactly how that works, my friends. There is just a radio station that is just stewing in your head constantly, in case you were wondering. There's actually like 8 stations on in your head. That is how ADD feels, is there are 8 radio stations, and all of them are over analyzing something in your life, whether it's your need to switch the laundry around, or the fact that you're getting doing the same things, but getting the wrong treatment as like a guy like Hangman Adam Page.
Yep.
And then you're just like, why do people hate me? It's a lot. It's a lot. Joel was wondering if he stumbled into an AEW review. It just wasn't that long of an episode, Joel. Okay.
Yeah, we dabble in. They're talking about the Converse. We talk about all of the Converse here on our ROH review.
We wear them and then we talk about them.
We have more. Were we high tops? Are we mid tops? Are we low tops? What are we doing here?
Honestly, I'm normally a high top gal, but because of the way Converses are made, I go mid to low because they're too thin. If I'm going high top, I want like the support.
Yeah, I got to get that ankle support.
Like, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Joel, how are you?
I'm okay. Another day. How you doing? SP3.
Hi, Joel.
See you too. Like your shirt.
Thank you.
Important question for you, Joel. And Cresta says once she's ready and pops on, I have the same question for her. Are you declaring for the Royal Rumble? It's a 2-parter. Are you declaring for the Royal Rumble? And if so, do you think you're going to win? Your thoughts?
I am not declaring for the Royal Rumble.
Coward.
Okay.
No, there's a reason for that. Why would I want to go up against potentially up to 30 other people when I could just declare for the Elimination Chamber and also sleep in my own bed that night and still get a shot at whatever championship it's going to be for?
Okay. Respect.
Sound thought.
If we're going to do it, we're going to do it lazily.
I feel like you could take out John Cena, though. I feel like it's less abusive.
I feel like a strong wind could take out John Cena right now.
Cresta, are you declaring for the Royal Rumble? You're muted, but that was a yes. That was affirmative.
Are you muted or is your microphone not working?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. This is what we went through last Saturday.
No.
Get your snowball in effect. Get your snowball working. What's wrong with you? Nothing. Can't. This is going to be a great Impact review because I'm just going to I'm just gonna read nothing and be like, and Cresta. Oh, right. Anyway, it'll be a 30-minute review.
How was
What if
Impact?
we just did it like a silent film?
Who plays piano? That would be fantastic.
That would be excellent.
Yeah,
That would be
just like the olden days.
Now this is just mean. Don't do this to someone. Don't
Yeah,
tell them
don't do that.
Clear. That's cruel.
She's like, I think everything's fine because Power Driver Finisher lied to me.
We
That's
did have
the way
this
to go.
super chat that I missed, by the way. Have Shane Taylor yeet him on the boat. We were talking about Jericho after he, Wardlow, and MJF butternut levels of squash him. The learning raw chicken needs to go. I said, like, if he goes on the boat and then just finds that he really likes where they're traveling to and wants to stay there for a couple months, I'm not wishing like harm or that he gets like lost on a desert island. If there's some resort that he just feels like staying at, I would support him in that decision. That's all I'm saying. Fozzy can handle the 84 times they play on the way back without him on lead vocal. It's gonna be fine.
It's not like he's on actual lead vocal half the time anyway. So
Oh, but he is on that boat and it is.
wow, I once
What
wanted
have
to be
I
part of the
become?
house band on that boat. Didn't happen.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
I think we talked about this.
yeah, I wanted to.
That would have
be.
been awesome.
They weren't hiring a house band because Jericho was bringing on all of his buddies and all the other acts that he can bring on. So I couldn't do it. It sucked.
Boo. Now I have even more heat with Chris Jericho, but let's see if
Oh, I was gonna
can
do
we
it.
hear
Sorry.
Cresta.
Please tell me that it works now.
Yay!
No, I can't hear you at all. I'm sorry. Oh, TNA post show's canceled this week. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I have to do the same
sorry.
workaround. I have to go incognito. I don't know why StreamYards on my main browser does not want to pick up my blue snowball or any microphone for that matter. So
That's so
Thanks.
rude of it. But you're
Yeah.
here, and we'll get out of here and let you talk some TNA Impact with these wonderful people.
Whoa.
Keep the
I
support
brought you
going.
guys a cupcake. Here you go. Merry
Oh, that's so sweet of you.
I can see right through it.
Happy Valentine's Day to me. I'll take it.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
Guys.
Bye, guys.
Oh, here we are.
Here we are, glorious TNA Impact. How are you, Joel?
Is it glorious?
Glorious.
I was gonna say he works for the other company. He works for the other partner.
I do miss him. I do miss Bobby Roode.
Me too. Once in a while, we go back and watch Bobby Roode matches, right? Is that what we do?
Maybe like we should do that as a Fightful subscriber special. We review an old TNA because I've never seen any beer money matches or anything like that. So I would like to go back in time. We could do like one or two. Maybe it gets like 10 million subscribers or something like that.
Sure, 10 million. Sure, that's when I'll do it. Sure, 10 million. That's when I'll do it. I whatever it is, that's fine.
I just threw out a number. I think that's a healthy number.
Yeah, totally. 10 million. That's when I'll do it. Perfect. Let's just stick with that. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I thought tonight's show was, but you know, I'm very easily sports entertained. So you're easily gonna get a 5 out of 10, not 5 out of 10. I'm sorry, 3 out of 5 for me. Easy, free. It was free, and they got like a 3.5, almost 4 out of me. How are you? What do you think of the show?
I'm all right. I'm feeling okay. I've been tired all afternoon, but I'm up and watching the show. It was pretty good. Listen, Sportsnet gave me shit because I was trying to wait to catch up to the show because normally like I'll skip through commercials and everything. So I'll start at like 8:30, maybe 8:45. So I start watching the show, and then all of a sudden I get an error message, and I have to refresh my Bell TV app. And when that happens, I lose everything I've been waiting on. So I basically lost like 25, 30 minutes of the show that I had to then go back and piece together through other means. And I was not happy about that. But that's more of that's not a TNA problem. That's not a content problem. That is a Bell being the worst here in Canada problem. Sportsnet 360, what are we doing?
Joel said it's time for revolution, starting with you, pal.
No, that's March the 6th.
Barata.
Anyway, you want to get to it?
I am ready and like fish and spaghetti, or however the rap line goes.
Couldn't tell you. Anyway, 1 and a 2. Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com, and it is time for your TNA Impact post show. I am at Joel Pearl, or at thejoelpearl.com over on the blue sky. As always, joining me to talk TNA, the lovely, wonderful, fantabulous one and only Cresta Star. How you doing?
Hi, I am here. Now that I said that, I feel like my voice is hoarse, but I'm here. I'm here to talk about TNA, and I'm excited to talk about TNA with you.
And you can talk about it with us all you want, whether you're live in the chat or if you're listening to us after the fact. If you're live, how about you leave us a thumbs up here on the video, or after the fact, you can do that too. That thumbs up goes a long way to getting us in that wonderful front page of the YouTube page. All right, you want that. And also you can subscribe to us here at Fightful on YouTube. You can go to Fightful.com, go to FightfulSelect.com, the best $5, soon to be $6 in the business. You can lock in now, get it for cheaper, or you can wait a couple of days and be like, oh, why did I wait too long? There's tons, and I'm telling you, tons of Royal Rumble scoops going on right now over on FightfulSelect.com. You want it, we got it, so get in there. Our Fightful Select Discord is going to be busy the next little while, not just talking TNA, not just talking Royal Rumble, but everything else. You want AEW talk, you want Ring of Honor talk, you want to talk about your favorite tech, you want to talk about your pets, you want to talk about whatever you want, it's in there over FightfulSelect.com. So go join us. Best $5, soon to be $6 in the business. You can also donate a super chat tonight. Get your question or statement read on the air. That's always helpful. Direct the conversation. Tell us how you felt about TNA Impact, or you can donate a Humper Chat, and Crest is going to tell you about it right now.
You take your fingers and you type it on whatever keyboard you're using, albeit your phone or your keyboard. Type humperchats.com. You're going to put in your question or your comment. Joel and myself will give you our 2 cents. And we get to keep a little bit more than 2 cents on whatever dollar amount you put in the box. Again, that's going to be Humper Chats. It keeps the lights on. Humperchats.com. Thank you so much.
Bing. So overall, a fairly solid episode of Impact. We're in a weird situation. There is no February plus event for TNA. It feels like whatever they're building to right now is going to be building to the next live TNA Impact, which is February 20th. They're making a big deal out of the next live show being at Full Sail University, where NXT used to film their content, used to film their shows before the pandemic. I'm just curious, like, how the build's going to be, because there's a good amount of time between now and the end of February. But overall, what were your thoughts on tonight's show, and how we're moving forward to what I assume will be a big next live episode of Impact?
I thought this show was fine. I think that we got a lot of stories moving forward. I think it was a nice way to say, hey, Genesis and our live show was here. I thought it was a fine show. Nothing really jumped out besides the Eric Young match.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. That was probably the most newsworthy event from tonight. Other than that, everything's just kind of being set in motion. You've got TNA Sacrifice in the middle of March. Other than that, February is an empty month other than the live Impact. That's why I'm saying it's probably going to be a pretty stacked card. If it's not, then what are we doing here?
Who knows? But that's the glory of sports entertainment.
Exactly. There's plenty to talk about. Let's open it up. Nic Nemeth comes out, cuts a promo. He starts talking about how he gives props to Joe Hendry and says, I lost the title, but I'm going to go after it again in 2025. And then out comes Ryan Nemeth, my big brother, He's just leaning into that shit now. It's fantastic.
I love it. Like, it's annoyingly perfect.
Yes.
It's great.
It's great for him, and he says Joe Hendry's a poser. He's a flash in the pan. He's a 2-pump chump, which I'm like, wait a minute, how would you know that one? But we'll just leave it alone. And he calls him a fraud. And then First Class comes out. First Class, they do their typical thing. AJ Francis is like, hey, that main event match that we had at Final Resolution is the reason why TNA Brass decided to award me the biggest contract that you've ever seen in TNA. And of course, it's fun little heel fodder, and he'll defend it to the bone, which is great. And then they also say, we don't want just the money, we want the spotlight too, and we're going to take it away from old timers like you guys. And I'm like, well, I don't think there's that big of a age discrepancy between everyone, but okay. Ryan Nemeth talks over Nick as they challenge First Class to a match. For some reason, out comes Santino Marella, and he has to make the main event and add his personal brand of hilarity. he says sarcastically. Do you have anything to add about this promo? And then we can probably just talk about the match, because it was a match in the main event slot. There are more newsworthy things to discuss.
My only note I really got out of this is that AJ Francis's arms was looking really buff. I noticed that tonight. His arms was looking real buff. I'm like, okay, I see you hitting what does Rock call it? Iron Sanctuary. I see you pimping. I don't really have any notes besides why is Ryan Nemeth interrupting his brother? LOL.
Why not? He's the spokesman for my big brother. It's perfect.
And you know what? That's a good answer. Why not? Why not?
It's a pretty typical match, the tag match between the Nemeths and First Class. I love in the entrance, by the way, that Casey Navarro hits the smile when they get to the ka-ching part of the theme. It's just like, it's those little moments I like in entertainment. The match is good back and forth. Casey Navarro is absolutely fantastic. AJ is also very solid. At the end of the day, you got Nic Nemeth hitting the knick-knack. Ryan tags himself in blindly. He gets the pin on Casey Navarro. Nick is kind of annoyed, but he realized they won, so they just kind of go with it. Match was fine. I don't know if you have many notes on the main event match before we go through literally everything else that was kind of more important than this.
Ryan Nemeth getting slapped in his chest. Ridiculous. Poor young man, but he took it like a champion. He was also selling OD. I thought it was great. Are we leading to a Ryan versus Nic Nemeth eventual heel turn or something like that? Because the tagging yourself, and I was like, okay, I could take you interrupting your brother because it's in support of the game. But this is kind of like, all right, little brother, stay your little brother's place. So I don't know, and it'd be nice to have something set up. I do see an eventual tag run for these guys. That'd be cute. I'd be okay with it. Another brothers in here. I'd be okay with it.
See, that's the thing. The Nemeth versus the Hardys feels like a match you want to see. You probably will, hint, hint. But other than that, I don't care much for a Nemeth versus Nemeth brother fight. It's not on the same line as Brett versus Owen Hart. It's just my big brother versus a former multiple-time heavyweight champion.
I don't know, man. I mean, trying to compare anything to an Owen and Bret Hart is a little unfair, to be fair, okay? I'm just saying, maybe it could lead to something more. Maybe Ryan Nemeth is the reason why JBL is out here doing stuff, and JBL hitting him is all a ruse for the love of the game or something. I'm trying to big brain it here.
Well, next week on TNA Impact, it's finally out there. It's going to be Fraxium, the NXT Tag Team Champions, taking on the Nemeth brothers. There you go. Get one win as a tag team, and you get a tag team title shot in NXT. That's how it works.
Hey, you know, I hate to say it, but there is no doubt in my mind that Fraxium will continue to be your NXT champion. So, you know, you got to get your reps in. So what? You got one win.
So let's talk about that, because it does kind of come into the Wes Lee, Tyson DuPont, Tyreek Igwe, Rascals, Ace Austin stuff. Let's get into that real quick.
Mhm.
They're backstage with Gian Miller. Lee says he was going for the NXT championship while DuPont and Igwe are going for tag gold, and they're going to take everyone's head who got in their way. This was going into the match, Wes Lee versus Ace Austin, a really solid one-on-one match. When I had read the spoilers that Wes Lee was defeating Ace Austin, I was like, well, that sucks. Ace Austin shouldn't be losing all the time. However, the way they did it was really good. Really wonderful back and forth match between Wes Lee and Ace Austin. Midway or towards the end, there's a gnarly gut wrench power bomb from Ace Austin on Wes Lee, and it looks like Lee almost lands on his neck and head. Other than that, Tyson and Tariq come out. They distract the referee. Ace handles them, and then there's an awkward landing from the Fosbury Flop from Ace Austin to the outside that they almost didn't catch him. Austin gets caught on the way back. Tyreek is holding his leg. Wes Lee hits the cardiac kick, gets the win, and then as Wes, Tyson, and Tariq are beating down Ace, the Rascals make the save. The reason why I bring this all up is because Tyson and Tariq eventually want to go for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Feels like they might even just have Tyson and Tariq win and then have the Rascals capture the championship from those two. That's kind
I
of
don't hate that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really solid plan. And then at some point, I do think with this partnership, there are some things that are inevitable. A Rascals match at some point is inevitable. And I do think that at some point, who am I thinking of? What It lost me. Never mind. It's gone. It went out the window. It took a walk. It went to go find its smile. It'll come back to me later.
I'm just confused as to where you were going with this. As it, like what is going on with my hair in the back? My God. Anyway, sorry.
It's all good. We're both distracted. I don't know if I'm looking at cat vomit or a rapper.
What's the rapper's name? No, I'm just kidding. I know what you meant. Well, because the song you were thinking was G-Dep. Let's get it. That's Cyclone's Better Than Wolverine. Sent a super chat about that. So there you go. Is that
You
our
got
show
it.
or is it yours?
Listen, I don't know. I don't remember. Listen, I got the memory of a goldfish. I don't know what happened 5 minutes ago. That's why I write my notes.
What is it with all of my tag partners on these shows having no memory? It's really great. You, Jeremy, SP3 is the only one who remembers anything.
The things I do remember consist of useless knowledge, Harry Potter facts, the whole old war from World of Warcraft, and random wrestling facts. Oh, and RuPaul's Drag Race quotes.
That sounds about right. Your thoughts on Wes Lee and Ace Austin tonight?
No, the match itself was good. I do like how Ray Walt and them were putting over the fact that Tyreek and I'm going to make sure I wrote it down. Tyson and Tyreek were conspicuous by their absence. The fact that they came in at the end, I was like, okay, because I didn't think Ace Austin was winning, unfortunately. But I'm like, this makes sense. You make him look strong in defeat because you got these guys here mucking about. I do want to point out that Ray Walt is becoming one of my favorite commentators. He said, I spoke to Wes Lee earlier, Tom, and he said, you're a nerd. No, he said, I spoke to Wes Lee earlier, and he said, you're a nerd, Tom. I'm like, why would you say that? That's your... The way he just runs Tom down, and I can already just see Tom. It reminds me of Don Callis and, oh my God. What's his name? Madison Rain's husband. Oh my God.
Josh Matthews.
Thank you. Because Don Callis used to give it to him all the time.
Because Josh Matthews is a giant dork.
I think this match was fine. I agree with you that Ace Austin shouldn't be losing. However, I do think that if there is or when there is a Rascals match, Ace Austin would be a lovely second alternate if Byron Reed isn't available. If he isn't the littlest brother of the Rascals, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious, like I said, with the NXT Tag Team Championships being involved more on TNA, the Nemeths are going to challenge. If they don't win, then I could easily see Tyreek and Tyson DuPont getting those tag titles, and then the Rascals winning it from them somewhere down the line as a big moment. But we'll see. We got to get there first.
That would be a really huge moment, I think, for TNA and NXT. And I don't think it takes away anything from NXT to lose their tag titles for a bit. Just like it won't mean anything for, let's say, TNA to give up.
Go ahead.
Media.
Yeah,
I wanted to say X Division. I was like, no.
There's the other thing too, and they had Zachary Wentz show up with the X Division Championship on the NXT show. This was back during the first talent exchange.
Mm-hmm.
If they do it again, it kind of feels to me like they really trust Zachary Wentz because he has been with both companies, just like with Wes Lee. Like he's been with both companies, so there's almost like an inherent trust and like a little bit of a thanks for being good on both sides type of reaction. But again, we don't know what they're going to do with either of those titles or any of those titles. But yeah, I could see them eventually having the Rascals capture it because it's been a big part of the story with the WWE or the NXT brand and the TNA brand.
Yeah, and I don't think that it'd be harmful to have a digital media champion on NXT. That would be really cute for like Ethan Page for the memes, solely for the memes. Yeah, you leave and you can't get away from this title. I think he had it like once or twice, right?
Top Dollar just tweeted Body Guy Dollar.
So he watches the show.
Blink twice. Blink twice if you're in the room, Dollar.
So he watches the show. Listen, we saw it. Good job. Thank you for being a fan.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it. AO Productions sent it. Super chat. Sorry. I saw it and I'm like, come on. AO saying, I like Hannafin telling the story of Ace's history with Wentz trained West. And that's the thing. When they were looking for a third, I immediately jumped to Ace Austin, and there's reason to do it. I like that they can at least gather all these guys up and work together in the story. It works. And the fact that Hannafin's telling the story and reminding people, hey, they're all interconnected, I think that's really good stuff.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I can't wait to see where this goes. I think Ace Austin with the Rascals just innately fits as well.
Gia Miller's backstage with Ariana Grace. In walks Tessa Blanchard.
Who? I'm kidding.
Tessa says, oh, your daddy got you anywhere you want to be. And I'm just like, that sounds familiar. And then she scares everyone off and she says Tessa answers to nobody. And I'm like, yeah, except accountability. And I can't give a shit less about this segment because it made no sense. She's not a part of the Knockouts Battle Royal next week. Sorry to let you know, but she's not. What are we doing? I don't care, quite frankly, but she's on the show. So here I am saying she was on it and she answers to nobody. So do we need to answer to her?
You know, if you used to go one-on-one with a normal man, you got a 50-50 chance.
Cora Jade earlier today shows up in the arena. Zaya Brookside welcomes her, says, hey, it's good to see you again. And Cora's like, I don't give a shit about you. Where's Masha Slamovich? And then Zaya's like, oh, no, that's not how we do things here. We're a close-knit locker room. And by the way, your dad trained you at NXT. My dad, Zaya Brookside's dad, Robbie, trained you at NXT. So, like, maybe be a little cool. And they shove and referees pick them apart. And that leads to Cora Jade defeating Hyan. Good to see her. She rules. If you haven't checked out Hyan yet, she's a fantastic independent wrestler. Definitely on the come up. Go check her out. And after the match, Jade continues to attack her. Zaya Brookside makes the save. And then Masha Slamovich also comes out. And here we are once again. Give me your thoughts.
I like this Cora Jade girl. She's a bully. I love a good heel. She's not nice, and I'm here for it. I remember last week when we were talking about it, and I said I wasn't sure if Cora Jade has got the stuff to go against Masha, because that's a tough order. And I like how commentary this week was like, a lot of people will say that, does she have the stuff? I don't know if it was commentary or the video package they did for her, that does she have the stuff to hang out with Masha? And it's like, I encourage you to look up her stuff outside of WWE and where she got to where she is, because she's that girl. I'm like, okay, I like that. I'm here for it. Poor Hyan, she ain't deserve that. Cora Jade was being a bully, sitting up on the ropes. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Poor Zaya Brookside, you came out to make the save just to get beat up too. So, yikes. I know that's the upcoming her girl, you guys are gonna feud probably right before she does Masha or right after. That'll be cute. I'm here for it. But dang, Zaya, I hope you guys put on a good match though. I can't wait. I feel like these two girls are gonna try to kill each other, and I'm gonna be sports entertained.
Like we said at the beginning of this month, which was the beginning of this year, Zaya Brookside's definitely penciled in for a big 2025. And this is the beginning of that. You put her in with NXT talent, who, by the way, Cora Jade just main evented Tuesday, or not main evented, but she was in one of the most looked forward to match on Tuesday. They opened the show, but it was a part of a bigger episode of NXT. Too many acronyms, and I'm just done. Regardless, my point is Cora Jade is a featured member of NXT. And Zaya Brookside is someone who is also looking to be featured further in 2025. So I'm looking forward to that. There's a lot of potential there. It sucked that she had gotten injured, but it looks like she is on her way back as Zaya Brookside. So again, if they have a good match and she continues to evolve her character, it's going to be good for her.
I'm here for it. Kill each other. Kali Ma, what up?
I'm all about it. Let's go. Brian Myers defeats Leon Slater. Can you give me your notes on this match? Because this is one that I unfortunately lost because of the wonderful Bell TV app. So I couldn't actually see the match, but I knew about it. And I know what happens later because to me, that's more storyline driven.
All right. I'm not Joel, y'all. If you watch the Collision show, you know I'm about to give it up. This match was fantastic in my opinion, but I'm also a fan of Leon Slater. I don't got a lot of beats for beats. I will tell you that Brian Myers made sure that every time Leon Slater went up, he kept him down. There was a good reversal. I want to say 2/3 in the middle of the match, 2/3 into the match, where there is a one-handed Blue Thunder Bomb, which I will say, out of all of the aerial moves Leon Slater does, the one-handed Blue Thunder Bomb just looks really, really good. And I want him to keep that forever in his arsenal. The system begins to cheat. Leon Slater takes them all out. He does a moonsault to Myers, like a side-spinning moonsault. He takes out the system, gives them all a kick for their troubles. But then sneaky Alicia Edwards slides in the ring of friendship, like the Festival of Friendship, ring of friendship. And he gives Leon Slater the Leon Slater, unfortunately, takes the roster cut and then the pin. The system sucks, and they win.
Wait, was there a dick kick in the match, or there was a low blow?
I didn't write that down. It might have been, but I didn't.
You went like this. To me, that's a low.
No, he gave him the old with the. I should have said the boom with the.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
He gave him a punch. Gave him a Falcon punch, and then the roster cut. Yeah, Myers won because Myers is a cheater. So is the system. Oh, I went to say Alicia Edwards. Your top looked nice tonight, girl. I love that top.
You just glazing Alicia Edwards every week now.
Listen, she's a fashion icon. You should hear what I say about Seth. call me Gertrude Glazer, because I'm.
God damn it.
Listen, if it's good, it's good. I don't care. You can be a heel or a face. If it looks good, I'm complimenting. That's
fine. I get it. As long as listen, I know you will have been kidnapped if you someday say Moose looked good tonight. Fashionably speaking.
Okay, I'm a hater, but I'm a hater from a nuanced standpoint. So if I hate you from an objective view. But if it looks good, I'll be like, God damn it, Moose. Why do you look good? God damn it.
Yeah, you ever say Moose's shoe game was on point, I'm gonna be like,
listen, if it is, it is. I'm not a hater for free.
That's just how I know that you will have been kidnapped. Later on, Frankie Kazarian finds Leon Slater in the back and tries to get him to reconsider the offer to be the trophy holder, the young boy. And Slater's like, no, you and the system are both cheaters. And then the system walks in and they're like, how about you could be our bag holder, our title carrier? And then Alicia Edwards is like, you could be the secretary because I'm the manager. And then the Hardys walk in and they defend Slater. And they're like, he's just like a Hardy, the British Hardy, JDC says. And then they challenge the system to a 6-man tag. So that's next week. The Hardys and Slater versus the system. That's good. I'm looking forward to that thing. But again, Leon Slater getting the rub, working with the experienced Hardys, the rock and roll superstar Hardys is good stuff. He is, again, another one in 2025 that is going to see a lot of opportunities coming his way.
I don't like that they were all treating Leon Slater like a young boy. I don't like that. JDC, why are you treating him like a young boy?
Remember when they used to sit around and JDC would talk about his old WWF days in a gazebo in St. Clair College? Well, Johnny Bravo sat there saying shit. And who else? Who was the third man? Was it Jake something?
No.
No. Oh, it was because it's all like, it was yeah. Well, like Bolton.
He's doing his little student films.
By the way, shout out to Jake something. He's said he's going to be away for a little bit. He's injured. He's going to have some surgery. We hope he comes back ready to rock and roll when he's ready for it.
Oh, that sucks. Jake something. Get well soon. Speedy recovery. I can't wait to hear that. What's my nerve?
As long as he doesn't come back more swole than he already is, we'll be okay.
Is that humanly possible?
That is a valid question, and I don't know if I want the answer to it.
You know what? Somebody call Brian Cage right now. He would know.
Don't want to do that. Sami Callihan and Mance Warner brawl into the crowd and into the ring and all around. Steph DeLander comes out, distracts Sami, and Mance gets the upper hand. Once again, Sami Callihan gets laid out. Steph DeLander and Mance make out in the ring because that's just what you do when you and your man take out the trash.
Violence makes her excited.
Nice.
Listen, I keep it PG-13 sometimes.
Sometimes.
I try.
Good stuff. Mustafa Ali is back in action. This was taped out of order, which was a little weird for me, but they inserted it now. He defeats Laredo Kid. Hey, Cresta Star, what do they do with luchadors in TNA wrestling?
They lose. I did write "Rip Laredo Kid," LOL, as my first note.
However, this was a really, really, really good match for Laredo Kid. He got in a lot. I do have to give it up. We know Laredo Kid's good, but it was more like it wasn't a squash. It wasn't like Ali's back and he's just going to tear through competition. No, they did a good showing for Laredo Kid. It all culminates with the middle rope suicide dive, and then Ali hits a draping DDT on the outside from the apron to the floor, follows it up with the 450 for the win, the 450 splash, and then that's it. Laredo Kid loses the match. Ali wins, and then post-match, Ali's in the back, and he says they started off the campaign with a victory, and it's going to continue on. And in walks Mike Santana, because last week Santana's in the ring giving his "Here I Am 2025" speech, and Ali had come back to say, "Well, I'm back too, and I'm going to win the world title," and it's basically stomped all over Santana's moment and ignored him. And so, as security goes to take out Santana, Ali backs him down, says Santana expects respect for respect, and then they can throw hands, he says, but Ali's like, no, I don't want to do that. I want competition. We'll do friendly competition, blah, blah, blah. So I'll find you a friend to the campaign to face, and he's always ready to face you. And of course, everyone knows who it is now, because for some reason, TNA may have spoiled that it's Matt Cardona, because they did the rundown for next week's show, and instead of making it a surprise, like a wink and a nod surprise, they're just like, Mike Santana faces Matt Cardona. And I'm like, oh, that kind of ruins it. Okay. But what do you think about Ali and Laredo Kid and this whole Santana and Ali beat that happened this week?
When I tell you, okay, let me start with the Laredo Kid versus Ali. The match itself was good. I'm never going to be worried about Laredo Kid. His wrestling is superb. Same thing could be said about Ali. It does suck that Laredo Kid is taking these L's, but unfortunately, if you're a luchador in TNA, you'll be looking up at them lights a lot. That's all I'm saying. That being said, at the end with Ali backstage with Santana, that was such a New York promo. When I tell you, Joel, I have seen that exact conversation happen before. Someone saying something else, and somebody pulls up and yo, we got a problem. Because what you did last night, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. And I was like, oh my God. Mike Santana, I'm about to put him in the same room as Eddie Kingston. Like, do you know what wrestling is? I'm not going to tell you, but I just want to know if you think wrestling is, no, I thought this was good. I think it's fantastic. Ali versus Santana. Yes. Yes, please. Give it to me twice on Sunday. That's going to be fantastic. I've seen both Ali and Mike Santana wrestle at House of Glory in New York. And these matches, so these two against each other, that's going to be fantastic, because where you think Ali may outspeed him and out aerial him, Mike Santana is that guy. He's just way taller, and Ali is already tall. So this match is good. That upcoming feud is also a good place filler. If Miss Cleo Joel Pearl is correct, and Santana is the guy to eventually have it by the end of 2025, this gives Joe Hendry time to breathe, Santana something to do, and Santana of substance something to do. So I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all.
I really hope that they don't spend 2025 making it about Mike Santana and not pulling the trigger on Mike Santana just because they got Ali. That's something that I really, really hope they don't do. Santana has the tools, and I'm not going to sit here telling you what I know about Mike Santana and the stuff we talk about every week. And I'm also not going to sit here and tell you that Mustafa Ali doesn't deserve to have a run as well, because he is that dude. He is very, very, very good. That being said, I feel like Santana is the guy who deserves that opportunity this year. I don't know how long Mustafa Ali's contract is. They don't like to talk about that at TNA. So I'm hopeful that this benefits both men and that both men kind of come out bigger in the TNA circuit for it.
I agree. I'm hopeful as well with you, but I will say, I got something negative to say. I hate to say this.
Oh, let's go. Bury it, Cresta.
TNA has jaded me with the whole Joe Hendry thing. I firmly believe you will cuck Mike Santana and drag this out for as long as you can and put damn near, because the room for main event is very filled. It's very crowded. You got Kazarian, you got Moose lurking around, you got Santana, Ali. Harrison is eventually gonna show his head again. You know what I mean? There are so many people at the top and so many people who deserve to be at the top. What you gonna do? You honey dicked us for so long with Joe Hendry, and now he's gonna have a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. I'm a little jaded, so I am hopeful. I would like that. I would like, even if it's at the end of the year, and let's say Joe Hendry is the reason for the season. I wouldn't be mad him waiting if we're doing it for Joe Hendry. I just no trusts.
With Santana, I could see him and Ali as a Bound for Glory main event. I could see Santana and Macklin and Santana and Moose. You're going back to the well with those matches I'm talking about, but those are 3 standout matches that Santana has had that they are currently available to do if and when Santana has the World Championship and he can fight with that title. And it's a great babyface moment.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Hendry is a really weird case. They know where he's going. He knows where he's going. When he has the opportunity, when he's done, he's going. I keep saying this is a gold watch for Joe Hendry. He has proven that he gets himself over, he gets company over. In the meantime, he does a promo where he says he completed his quest, he beat Cardona, now he's waiting on his next challenger. Next week, though, they're doing another concert. I understand that this is deeply entertaining for a lot of people, but sticky comedy is not something that TNA has done in the main event slots in a very long time. I don't think that this is the way to do it with your world champion. So with that in mind, I don't know if this is going to lead to the next challenger, but I don't know how much I love Joe Hendry coming out and just being singy-songy Joe Hendry as your world champion. I don't think he needs to be serious all the time. He doesn't need to be Cody Rhodes. He just needs to be more than what he's done so far, in my opinion. Your thoughts, Joe Hendry, this little gimmick thing he's going to do next week, this concert?
I could see where you're coming from. However, I will say that Joe Hendry, a lot of his core audience and a lot of people know him from his little songs, from his catchphrases. So I do think there is a reason to not abandon that audience and not abandon what got you over in the first place right now. I think it will lead to another challenger. I think someone with that same gripe will be like, nobody wants to hear the main event champion come out here and do a concert. Nobody want to hear that. And we don't care if you're Elias, The Rock, or Joe Hendry. Nobody want to hear that. And I think that'll start it. In this case, it's not overused. It's not bad. I think there is a way to do it. And this is a good way to be like, hey, I'm celebrating. Everyone did their celebration. Mine's just going to be with a song and dance. It's kind of like, I see his things. If we reserve it to like wrestling weddings or special occasions, this isn't bad. Because it what got you over in the first place. Why? It's the same reason why Undertaker still does the Dead Man in 20-minute entrance.
God, I can't believe you just mentioned that one.
I mean, come on now. Like, he could be I Am American Badass, and he will still take a 20-minute entrance. All habits die hard, pal.
Yeah. I'm not. I see someone in the chat saying, that he'd seen a change his character and the fans booed him. I'm not talking about Joe Hendry going through a complete metamorphosis. But also, at one point, John Cena also needed to get away from doing battle rapping every week and wearing the town jersey and all that stuff. He needed to get away from it because it just wasn't working.
Corny.
It was corny as hell. It was corny, and so is the concerts. I don't know what it is that Joe Hendry needs to do. And also, here's the other side of it. Joe Hendry is most likely WWE bound. If there's interest there and the contract is going to be available to him, he's going to take it. Joe Hendry in his current iteration, let me try that again, take 2. Joe Hendry in his current iteration is not a WWE main roster, main event character. There are no, it's Elias. It's Elias. It's lower mid card.
I disagree with that. Hard body. I disagree. I could see that,
it's
but
music videos and haha. When was the last time haha was the main event of a WWE show? Not NXT. A WWE show.
I am adult enough to say that I started watching wrestling in 2018. Well, I started rewatching it So I don't have that depth of knowledge. So I'll give you that. But I do think that there is something different about Joe Hendry. You know, I've been on the Joe Hendry train since day one. There is something about him different. He's got that it factor. He has that star quality. I do think there is that 1 or 2 matches that are missing under his belt that you can say, oh, he's that guy. But I think that if we use the concert sparingly, or even a video or 2 to get your Riz off, that's fine. Not as much as before, but I think it's fine. Is he Elias? Absolutely not. I like Elias, but Elias, he is not. Like, his videos actually banged. His music actually bangs. So I'll just say, Joe Hendry, in my opinion, has that it factor. I don't know if it is Seth Rollins level. If you're talking about main event, I'm talking about Seth Rollins level. I'm talking about CM Punk level, Roman Reigns. There is a lane for it, but I do see what you're saying, because I see him in his current iteration. I guess his ceiling would be Seth Rollins, and that's still pretty a high ceiling, but even Seth Rollins complains about it. Sometimes I'm never the guy, and it's annoying. So
Seth Rollins never came out with a guitar singing a song about his opponents.
Bro, Kevin Owens had a whole silly show, and Kevin Owens been champion. The Myth was champion.
Kevin Owens never came out with a guitar and singing songs about his opponents either.
I believe in Joe Hendry, and we're just going to agree to disagree, because I think he could do it. I think he could do it. I know he could do it. If the Miz could be champion, that's always going to be my go-to. I don't care if it was because we were sick of Cena. If that was the best choice, God damn it, we could do it for Joe Hendry.
Someone in the chat mentioning The Rock did it. Yeah, he did it after he was insanely already over with another character.
I agree. I wanted to use The Rock, but you can't use The Rock, because even then he kind of got moved.
Yeah, you cannot use The Rock because he had a completely separate situation going on.
Yeah, like, he is a lovely, to me, Joe Hendry needs 1 or 2 more things, and what that is, I don't know. I'm not Paul Heyman. I'm not a wrestling genius. But he's Kevin Owens. He's Seth Rollins. He's right, to me, he's right there. He could be the guy. AJ Styles could be the guy, but you're not CM Punk. You know what I mean? He's not Josh Alexander. But if Josh Alexander couldn't be the guy, Joe Hendry can be the guy. And I think with a few matches, people will see what I see. I would let him be champion twice on Sunday, every day.
Joe Hendry, I will not tell you, is super over. You know why? Because he's not the sole reason people are buying a ticket to go to TNA. He's not. More people are going to go to see the Hardys. More people might even go to see Nic Nemeth because of the ties. TNA is still an ensemble cast as well. The point of all this is, what Joe Hendry is missing is the thing that you and I are kind of dancing around, and that is a serious story that gets over his title run, that gets over the actual seriousness of Joe Hendry as a main event level star. Josh Alexander is another example of this. People wanted to see Josh Alexander beat the shit out of someone in a great wrestling match while he was the champion. People were buying tickets to go watch Josh Alexander versus Tomohiro Ishii. No shade at Ishii, but like, that's a random ass Impact World Championship match. But they did it, and people came for that. The example I'm using is more just the idea that Hendry hasn't had a standout match yet. He hasn't had a standout story that wasn't comedy based. The stuff with AJ Francis last year was fantastic, but it was mid-card fodder. It was digital media championship stuff. There isn't a serious world championship story, and I get it. He just won. I understand that. I'm willing to give this time, but they got to do something more.
And I'm trying to think, the only person who could, like, let me not say the only person. There's a few people that he could really put his foot down. Like, Moose would give him a good match. Who's a piece of shit? Like, respectfully.
Honestly, Edward Edwards is that guy. Eddie Edwards, people shit on Eddie Edwards as a challenger. I get it.
He's a good wrestler, though. He's a phenomenal wrestler.
But he's a great wrestler. He is the guy with the opportunity to drag you to a great match. Eric Young, you were just alluding to, he is absolutely up there. We'll talk about EY in just a minute because he's the last segment we have to talk about. And yeah, someone in the chat had mentioned Mustafa Ali. He's another guy. I don't know if Ali and Hendry have chemistry, but I'd like to see it.
Yeah. I think that somebody, I do agree that he does need someone to test his mettle, so to speak, and have a serious main event match. And I don't know if that's his fault or TNA dancing around, he should have been champion sooner. I do think that some of the wind is out of his sails, and I do see someone in chat saying that there's rumors about this Saturday with him being at Royal Rumble. I can see that. That would be, to me, an amazing pop. It'd get a lot of eyes on TNA that Thursday. Your champion, shout outs to Mickey James for putting the Knockouts champion, and shout outs to Jordan Grace, for doing the same during the Royal Rumble. I think it's about time you have the men's champion in the Royal Rumble as well. Joe Hendry don't got to win it. Hell, Joe Hendry don't even got to make it to top 4, but at least if he make it to top 10, it'd be a good showing, and it shows real faith in the partnership. I want more for Joe Hendry. I do agree he needs something, but I don't know, again, if that's his fault or them not pulling the trigger soon enough, because I can say that he's not as popular as he was.
If he's in the Royal Rumble, mark my words, he'll be 1 or 2. He'll be number 1 or number 2. The reason why? He has the entrance. He has the entrance. He does the turnaround pose, and then he does the promo. He will enter number 1 or number 2, and he will do the shtick, and people will like it. People will love it. And maybe he goes far. Maybe he is in the final 5 or 6, and they make big deal out of that. The TNA World Champion is hanging in with the WWE, big stars. They could do that. But again, mark my words, if he's in there, he comes in number 1 or number 2. And I think the arena would react about that.
Number 1 is that's dastardly. I've never seen them put a surprise non-WWE entrant.
Is he a surprise though? He's not WWE, but is he a surprise though?
I mean, yeah, like placement wise, but number 1 is dastardly. That's
so going back to Elias. That's what they did to him in 2019. They gave Elias the number 1 spot or number 2 spot because he had the guitar shtick. So he had to be in the ring already with the lights off and doing the, playing the guitar. And that's how they did it. They could probably do the same with Joe Hendry and let him do his mic work shtick and do the whole production. Because that's what it is. It's a whole production for Joe Hendry's entrance theme and his doing the waving hands side to side. And that gets people going. I think that if the fans are there, again, 60,000 people, at least 15,000 are going to know that Joe Hendry, who he is, because he did it. He was part of NXT for a bit. He did the PLE. Like, he's got a little bit of WWE experience under his belt, so I could see them doing it.
Okay, you sold me on this. Maybe not the first spot, but definitely the second spot. I can see your number 1 going to like a WWE guy, either your Iron Man or whatever dude who lost the match or whatever it is.
Sure.
And the next thing you hear, say his name, and I could see it. I could see it.
Well, we'll see on Saturday. Final segment from tonight's episode of Impact: Eric Young and Josh Alexander versus Sinner and Saint, who they're still calling the Northern Armory. I'm not big on that, but that's just me. It ends in a no contest because Eric Young is a real piece of shit. But I love how this worked out. So first of all, earlier before the match, Steve Macklin approached Eric Young as he's getting ready, and he says, Josh is still untrustworthy, and I don't want to be around to see why you're doing this or anything. So he left. Macklin left. He just didn't want to be there. He's like, nope, don't care. I've already had to watch Tessa tonight. I'm gone. See you. So the match, I had to do it. It's what you get. So Josh is taking on both Sinner and Saint at different parts of the match. Eventually gets the hot tag to Eric Young, and Eric Young comes in. He just stops for a second, turns around, and just clocks Josh Alexander. And my favorite part of all of that is Alexander's headgear just like flying off his head. It's really well done. And then Sinner and Saint beat down Josh as EY watches on. And that's it. That's it. I don't know if that's a wrap on Josh. It's not a wrap on Josh Alexander. There's more coming. But Eric Young seems to have either inherited Sinner and Saint or set them free. I don't know. But what'd you make of all of this?
2 responses, and I'll give you the nice one first. Damn, Eric Young, that's crazy. That is incredibly crazy. Why would you do that? This is my actual response. Damn, Josh Alexander, that's what you deserve, bro. You've been a piece of shit for like the past 6 months. More than that, bro. And you brainwash these kids and you're just gonna leave because now you gonna give your life. No, we did crack together. You can't clean up and not do crack with me. This is what you get. And I know you're gonna come crawling back to Macklin. And when you do, I want Macklin to be like, well. I like you. I like you, Mr. Alexander. But you deserve it. You can't be a jerk. You were saying some vile things about people. And, in wrestling, you can't trust these bald people. You bald and we couldn't trust you, so you already know what it is. I feel bad because I like Josh Alexander, but also, you deserve this, my guy. And nobody's going to help you because you said a lot of bad things about a lot of people. A lot of people, buddy. So, you deserve this. You deserve this. Ha ha. That wasn't right, but ha ha.
I am a fan of Josh Alexander wrapping up with TNA as a good guy. That he had his moment, he did his little heel turn, wasn't long, and I don't know whose decision it was to wrap Josh as a good guy, but it works. It makes sense. He was positioned as such for his entire singles run up until Slammiversary. That's when they did the turn, and they started teasing it in Toronto at a Northern Crown event. Like there was clearly wheels to try it. This was good. This was good stuff. Eric Young being the guy to turn on Josh makes sense on a lot of different levels. Eric Young's another Canadian who has been around TNA forever. Josh has been another Canadian who's been around TNA and is in his blood, so on and so forth. Like there's a history there. I like it. They faced each other for the World Championship. It works. Sinner and Saint are the young Canadian boys who are coming in. They're hungry. They're the dogs that want to eat. It all works together. People mentioning, EY loves to rival, or he loves to turn babyface and heel over and over and over again. Yeah, that's kind of, EY is a world-class maniac. That's the story they give him, and maniacs are just whew. So I'm looking forward to what they do to wrap up Josh Alexander and where Sinner and Saint continue, because they're the other guys, a big 2025 ahead of them. That's Impact for the 30th of January. We march forward to, I guess, the next live special, which is going to be the Live Impact in February, and the Rumble is this weekend. So we'll probably have a little bit to say about any TNA entrance or any TNA involvement in the Royal Rumble. This is really the one time where I can see them kickstart that. But a pretty solid episode of Impact all around. Cresta Star, what you got going on?
Guys, I don't know if we're doing a Collision post show this Saturday, as it is the Royal Rumble. Stay tuned to all Fightful socials about that. But besides that, you can catch me every Saturday and Saturday and Thursday here over on Fightful. Joe Pearl and myself go over TNA Impact. It's fun stuff. Every Saturday, myself, Rick, and Iridian go over AEW Collision. It's also fun stuff. And every Wednesday, you can catch me on my personal Twitch and TikTok, Cresta Star. We watch AEW Dynamite. Follow me on all forms of social media. Cresta Star, except for Twitter, formerly X or whatever. It's Cresta D Star, but I don't really use that. I just want to make sure no one steals my shit. Blue Sky, I have one. Cresta Star, Linktree in my bio. Follow me on social media. Let's be friends. And also subscribe to Fightful Select. I be in a Discord playing video games with people. So, Joel, what you got going on?
Well, first of all, your co-host is hosting the post-Royal Rumble rap show with Phil Lindsay on Saturday. So there's that.
Which one?
Iridian. Your other co-host, I feel like, is going to be in Indianapolis for the Royal Rumble. I'm not sure if Rick's going to be there, but it would make sense if he is, because it's not too far.
If somebody in this channel is rich and wants to sponsor Cresta Star to go to all these places with her co-hosts so she can be on the ground, CrestaStar@gmail.com.
Well, regardless, y'all can host your own Collision post show this Saturday if you want. For Cresta Star, I am at Joel Pearl. We go in the weeds Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Soon to go 5 days a week. Next week, we're going to be starting 5 days a week. I'm not going 5 days a week, but Jeremy and SP3 will be doing a Tuesday and Thursday in the weeds starting next week. So that's pretty amazing. That's over on our sister channel, Fightful Overbooked. So catch us at 10 a.m. Eastern all week, starting next week, for In the Weeds. And Cresta and I are here every Thursday, as we always are, to talk about TNA Impact and all the other stuff. We see you, Dala. Keep working on them arms. Get your shoulders right. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, we are the binary. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.